there's also something else that I think is important, and that is making sure that our Native Americans have, our indigenous folk have the first opportunity for any jobs in those areas, especially helping them be able to provide for themselves also helps us because then we have more people who are legitimately paying taxes to either the United States government or their individual nation within ours. Either way, it helps us because we have someone who's helping us by providing their skills, and we are paying them in one fashion or another. And eventually, all of our economic flow comes around, and we see it improve our nation. There is also historical artifact preservation. I would like to see the artifacts that we have eventually returned to our Native American brethren. I would also like to see these artifacts and historical documents related, all that, within museums that everyone can learn from. Regardless of how ugly a history might look, it is important to learn about these things so that we don't repeat our history. Unfortunately, the human race has a nasty habit of repeating history. It's important for us to learn from what we've done in the past to better our future. So those are some of the things that I'd like to do for our Native American tribesmen to help us unify as a nation. They are part of our nation, as is all other beings who are here who legitimately are trying to be a good part of this nation, part of our economy, part of us. That being said, I'm going to move on to my run for Congress for 2026. The House of Representatives in Washington State has a position opening, a district opening. Actually, they have 10 districts available coming in 2026. So I'm going to try to snag one of those spots. One of the things that I hope to accomplish with my run for Congress is getting my foot in the door initially, because this is part of the overall presidential campaign run. Getting that foot in the door, showing how we can, in this state at least, start implementing plans through the national education system, national healthcare system, and show how it can be sustainable, making sure that we start reducing poverty within our own cities and towns, making sure that the people have access to all of the legislation that is going to be passed or going to be going through for consideration in the House of Representatives, making sure that we stick to reasonable actions, reasonable decisions, responsible decisions that is going to put us on a path to success. Making sure that our nation actually succeeds, making sure that our economy flows like it should, making sure that we can have a functional set of skills that are going to be able to be used, making sure that we can afford to eat and afford to pay for our homes, pay for our rentals, whichever it happens to be. This is part of it. Making sure that the right legislation is voted for, making sure that we, the people, are running our government. We, the people, making sure that we are in the right place. This is also stuff that I'm going to be doing for the vice presidential position, should that be where I'm elected to. As a member of the executive branch, I am president of the Senate as the vice president. That will put me in a great position to make sure that all of the legislation that goes through the Senate is beneficial to the people. Make sure that all of the all of the senators are working together in a bipartisan manner to make sure that legislation is passed without bias, without problems and holdups and things that we have seen that have really caused our Congress to diminish the amount of legislation that they pass on a regular basis. There's also things that I'm going to make sure that can be done, like upgrading how our Congress is able to participate in voting, and that is something that will also be available for the general population, making sure that we all have easy access to voting and secure access to voting. So, I believe that is all I have for today. Next week I'm going to be talking about some amendments to the Constitution regarding our National Recovery Plan. These are going to be amendments that are important for ensuring our rights, making sure that we can easily interpret them, and make sure that our rights cannot be violated by any single branch of government or the government as a whole, or by any state or local government. There's a lot of things that we can do, and we're going to go over some of these amendments. I think that a lot of people will agree that these are appropriate changes. Now, something that I have recently thought about is that our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, our whole set of documents right there that help founded our nation, they're a little bit messy, and they could be cleaned up a little bit. In order to do something like that, there has to be a convention, a constitutional convention. Now, it will take a long time to set something like that up, but I believe it is necessary, and I will be proposing those changes to the Constitution, the amendments, next week next time we meet, whenever I talk about, or on the 22nd, whenever we come back for our Fireside Chat. All right. Thank you for your time, and may our path lead to peace and prosperity.